As world leaders meet in New York, there's increasing pressure to act faster on climate change. The UN chief and British Prime Minister Boris Johnson are hosting 40 world leaders for climate talks on the sidelines of the General Assembly. Now, they want more to be done ahead of major climate talks that are being hosted by the UK next month. The COP26 summit is seen as the next step after the Paris Climate Agreement 6 years ago.
It's only a couple of months now till the COP26 summit, and so we need everybody to focus on what's called their nationally determined contributions. That's the amount of carbon dioxide each country is going to cut.
For more, Will Denslow joins us live now from New York. Will, what's the aim of this closed-door meeting, even before the General Assembly begins?
Well, Dawn, the real focus of this meeting is momentum. That is the huge focus here on Monday in New York, on the sidelines before the high-level week at the United Nations General Assembly really begins in earnest. Of course, on Friday we had President Biden hosting that Major Economies Forum summit to make that global methane pledge. Now, on Friday, President Biden said that he wanted to see these global nations cut methane by 30% by 2030. President Biden saying it was ambitious but realistic. Last week, of course, we also had that striking United Nations climate change report that stated that global emissions must be cut by 45% by 2030. However, that report also said that emissions look set to rise currently by 16% by that year. Antonio Guterres, the UN Secretary General, said that was a code red for humanity. So the hope is that this meeting on Monday can really start to keep the ball rolling when it comes to getting more ambitious targets from world leaders when it comes to tackling climate change. This meeting on Monday, of course, comes ahead of a larger, more public forum on climate change later this week on Wednesday here in New York. And of course, this is all seen as momentum building before COP26 in Glasgow in November.
And Will, there's also pressure from Antonio Guterres on the United States and China to cooperate more on this front.
That's absolutely right. Antonio Guterres, in that wide-ranging interview he gave with the Associated Press over the weekend, very much identified climate change as a huge area where China and the United States need to cooperate. Of course, it's very telling that India and China were not the leaders from those two countries. Xi Jinping and Narendra Modi did not participate in person or did not participate themselves in that methane summit that President Biden held on Friday. So the real hope is that there can be more direct cooperation. Of course, Antonio Guterres very much striking the difficulties and the challenges when it comes to their cooperation. He says that it's urgent that they repair what he describes as a completely dysfunctional relationship. He says today there is only confrontation between those two powers, and of course that relationship further complicated by this AUKUS submarine deal between the US, the United Kingdom and Australia, which will certainly be seen as a further complication during a week that the Secretary General and those here at the United Nations hope all these major powers, especially the US and China, can come together on common goals like tackling climate change.
Will, thank you very much for that update. Will Denslow there in New York.